We're all responsible for each other. They could have protested, and they didn't. And that's what happened by Achan. How could Achan take from property that Yeshua told him not to take? You know how he was able to do it? Because he figured that nobody's going to protest. Nobody's going to say anything. He'll get away with it. And if he'll get away with it, then it's the fault of everybody who would let him get away with it. And maybe that's the pshat. Chas v'shalom, there's nothing wrong that those kids could have done. They were sitting and learning. They were the Zimras ha'oretz. But why do things happen? It tells us in the Torah, because we're all involved together. And if we see that people do certain things wrong, it's our obligation to complain. In a nice way, of course. You're not supposed to say Musar if nobody's going to listen to you. Just to show that you're saying Musar, it's no accomplishment. But if people do something wrong, you have to feel, how am I going to change that person? How am I going to either set an example, or how am I going to get a Rav to tell him that he has to be different? So I want to mention a few things. Doesn't mean that these things are happening in Eretz Yisrael or by us, but it's just simple examples that all of us will recognize that we let people get away with it. And we shouldn't let people get away with it. And there's two types of arvus. There's arvus in a negative way, arvus feeling a responsibility that we don't let people get away with it, and arvus in a positive way, as we'll speak. For example, do any of us here know people that are not giving divorces to their wives, and they hold them as agunos? How could any of us stand by if there's somebody in a neighborhood or somebody that we know and he doesn't give a get and he causes a woman to Gehenna on this earth to be an aguna? Klal Yisrael should get together, not let this person daven in a shul, not let this person do business with anyone. So you're going to say, what's it got to do with me? That's his family problem. That's what the Gemara is telling us. Arvus is a responsibility. You have to protest. How many times does it happen in business? People are they're cheating. They're doing things that are improper. You're not the one that's doing it. You're an Elachayid. But you know what your boss is doing. You know what your coworker is doing. We can't stand by anymore. That's what Arvus is all about. If you're a person that has Baruch Hashem a Seder and learning, but you come and you know in your neighborhood, not everybody's learning. Guys are watching TV at night. They're on the internet. They're doing a lot of different things. They want to cool off at night. But how could a Ben Torah, how could a Yid not have a Seder and learning? So if you know somebody that has no Seder and learning, he hasn't opened up a Gemara in years, you have to talk to him in a nice way. That's part of Arvus. And it's the same thing with sneers, with dressing. If women know in each other that they're not dressed properly, you have to say it in a nice way. There's certain standards that a Bas Yisrael has to maintain. It's not for a man to talk to sneers about women, but for women to talk to women about women. And they can say it in a nice way, in a positive way, in an upbeat way. That's what Arvus is all about. That's what Chazal are telling us. V'koshlu ish ba'achiv shekulam arevim zeh b'zeh shahaya b'yodam limchais v'lay michu. That's why shreklach things happen. Chazal are saying it. And then you have the positive. Don't we all know the shreklach problem of shidduchim today? Is there anybody here that doesn't know people that are looking for a shidduch? How can we sit by and not do anything? How can you not be part of a shidduch group? How can you not make calls? When you're making calls for your own children, you're frantic until you marry off the child. That's what a person has to do. That's part of Arvus. That's Arvus in the positive way. And what about inviting people for the Suda on Purim? And inviting people, lonely people, almonos, singles, older people that have nobody? Now's the time to think about them for Pesach. Now's the time to think about them for the Purim Suda. That's what Arvus is all about. That's what Chazal are teaching us.